YouTube friends. Today we're here with my partner Scott talking about one of my favorite topics, body language.
And one of the most frequent questions we get at Science of People is how to read people's meaning and behavior using body language. And you've come up with the 7 signs that people should look for. And you've got some great examples to demonstrate that as well. So let's go ahead and dive in.
Yes, it's hard to pick out my favorite body language cues, but I realized I had to pick my 7 most important ones. The very first one I think that everyone should know is how to spot shame. So this one's really important because it's so easy to spot once you know what to look for. The way that we show shame as humans is we just lightly touch the side of our forehead. Is it a slight forehead touch? You see this all the time with celebrities, with people who are embarrassed on those embarrassment shows. What are those called? Prank shows?
Yep.
You constantly, people do this. The reason is because when we're embarrassed, we often just want to hide our face. So the slight forehead cover is just almost about to cover someone's face. And that's what we do. We don't even realize it when we're a little bit embarrassed. We go like this. Oh, no, 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 no.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about blocking behavior.
Yes. Okay, so next kind of after shame is when you're really embarrassed or feeling more negative, you do a blocking behavior. So blocking is anytime we put a barrier between our torso and someone else or an idea. So for example, right now we're open torsos. If I was feeling uncomfortable or I didn't like a question that you asked, I might cross my arms. This is more comfortable for me because I'm like, oh, my arms are blocking my most vital organs. I also might, if I'm holding an iPad, exactly, you can show exactly, kind of hold the iPad in front. You see people do this with their computer or their book or their notebook. Anytime someone suddenly blocks, they've been open and talking all the time, then they're sitting back and they're crossing their arms. You have one of 2 things you can think about. One, did you say something that makes them feel a little bit closed off or a little bit defensive? Or 2, are they feeling uncomfortable or nervous? It's kind of the body version of that shame gesture of something negative that's
Trying
happening.
to put a physical object between you and the information that you just shared, or themselves and what you just shared.
Exactly. So shame, blocking, watch out for it, and then go into immediate rapport building.
Okay. What about a head tilt? Tell me about that.
So this is a good one. This is a positive one. So a universal human gesture, let's do a little experiment. If I say, can you hear that? You immediately turn and expose your ear. This is a natural human behavior. When we want to hear something, we try to give our ear as much clearance as possible. What's great about this is in a really good conversation, if we're super engaged and listening and curious, a way that we can show that we're listening is to just do a slight head tilt. And when someone's really interested, they do this. You always want to look for a slight head tilt because it shows someone is interested. You also want to do the head tilt for someone else to show that you're interested. Just be careful not to do it too much. Too much head tilting and you look like you have a crick in your neck. Oh, and bonus here is the head tilt and slight triple nod. So head tilt and a 1, 2, 3. If I do this to you, really, tell me more. It's very warm.
I have to start talking.
You have to start talking. You have to tell me more. It's the nonverbal ... I think Oprah Winfrey does this amazingly. So Oprah Winfrey is the best listener on television, right? She's so good at listening. I think one way that she gets people to open up is with her nonverbal. And she's constantly, if you watch her interviews closely, when she's really getting into the meat of the interview, she will just slightly tilt her head as if to say to the person, yes, keep going.
Think about your dog. What does your dog do when they're trying to get something out of you? Tilt their head.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we have a clip of Oprah Winfrey. Actually, you can see a little example of this. We can put it in slow-mo for you. Very cool. So you can see that little head tilt there. Again, it's one of her quintessential moves.
All right, let's go back to another blocking behavior now. What about the mouth block?
Okay. So have you ever seen a little kid tell a lie? They always go, they'll tell a lie and they kind of go, oh, and they cover their mouth. Right? That is because it is a natural human instinct when we are trying to keep something in or we don't like what we said, we will cover our own mouth. We might even do this with like a rub of the nose or a rub of the lips, and that is because we're trying to withhold something or keep something in. Sometimes it can even come with shame. For example, I think that we found a celebrity example here of a mouth block and a little shame gesture, and that's because if we're really embarrassed, especially if something we said, that's exactly what we want to do is we're like trying to cover our face and trying to keep it in. So watch out for any sudden mouth touches. You're talking to someone and it means they wanted to just keep that in just a little bit.
What happens, how do you tell the difference between a itch and an actual behavior, either on the shame side or the nose scratching side?
So the way that I like to think about these cues is buckets. So when I think about body language, I think of there are positive nonverbals and there are negatives. If you just see someone do a little nose scratch or a little mouth touch, and that's all you see, they're still smiling, they're laughing, they're head tilting, that's probably an itch, it's probably nothing. But if you see a shame gesture and then a mouth cover and then a block, that's 3 negative cues in a row. You're in some kind of nervous territory.
All right, let's move on to number 5 already. Tell me about the hands.
So hands are really, really important for warmth. They're really important for conveying charisma. So we did a really fascinating study where we counted hand gestures in TED Talks. This is actually what my TED Talk is about. And we found that the most dynamic speakers, the best TED Talkers, use their hands to demonstrate their words. So if I say I have a big idea, you see how big it is, or it's this big, or it's beach ball big, or I have a really small idea, and you look at how small it is. Your hand gestures are incredibly important for getting your message across. So if I'm talking about 3 different things, I would actually show you those 3 things. Here's number 1, here's number 2, here's number 3. If I'm talking about you versus me, my hand gestures are giving you an outline. It's a really easy way to lighten someone's cognitive load, where they can think just a little bit less because they're following your hands in addition to your words.
Excellent. Okay, let's go on to eyebrows. We have an eyebrow raise. Now,
Yes, I work very hard on my eyebrows. What do you think? Do you like them? So eyebrows are actually really important. They're a secret kind of gesture that people don't notice. This is one you should definitely know how to spot. When someone is curious, or they're interested, or they're engaged, they cannot help but go, oh, and raise their eyebrows.
That means something else, though. When you
I
do
know.
that.
That's super curious,
Yes, they
super
are.
engaged.
Yeah,
If you're in a bar and you see someone go, it's a good sign. It's something good. It's the same thing in business, or when you're talking to someone. When you say something interesting, people will often, really? You almost always see an eyebrow raise partnered with an aha, oh, that's interesting, how great. That is because I think when something's interesting, we want to see it better. When we want to see something better, we want to raise our eyebrows and open our eyelids as much as possible. So when we like something, we want to see more of it, and then we raise our eyebrows. So 2 things for you with any positive. Watch out for an eyebrow raise. You just hooked someone in. And second, give people eyebrow raises if you're interested.
All right, I'm very interested in hearing about the next one.
Thank you.
Facial
saw it.
expressions.
I saw it.
Tell me about facial expressions.
Okay, so this one, it's a little bit of I cheated a little bit on this one. So I said I only had 7 cues, but my 7th cue is actually to learn all 7 microexpressions. If you really want to learn how to read people, you have to learn how to read the face. You know, this was the quintessential piece of science that totally hooked me on body language science. Dr. Paul Ekman discovered there are 7 universal microexpressions. They are, let's see if I can get them all: happiness, disgust, fear, sadness, surprise, contempt, anger. All 7. You should absolutely know how to read these. We have a free guide to reading microexpressions at sciencepeople.com/face. So you have to go check it out. I think that is one of the easiest ways to get deeper into body language and emotions. So we had shame.
Let's review for everyone. Yep.
Yeah.
We had spotting shame. We had hand gestures. Looking at the hands. Head tilt. Blocking behavior. We had eyebrow raises. Yep, blocking the mouth.
Yep.
And facial expressions.
That's right.
I didn't do it in the right order, but I got all 7.
There you go. Bonus points for you.
Yeah.
So if you really want to get good at reading body language, start with those 7 and make sure you check out our faces tutorial. And of course, we have tons more body language videos on this channel. If you're interested in one deeper aspect, you should go check them out. Thanks so much for watching. Bye. Hey, I want to tell you one more thing. You are amazing. The question is, do you know how to share it? I'd love to help. I save my very best tips for my insider subscribers. Subscribe for free at scienceofpeople.com. I know your inbox is sacred, so I promise to send you only emails you will love. Did you like this video? Well, give us a like and be sure to subscribe to our channel. I have more great videos coming up in the next few weeks.